Hi friends, welcome to today's Pick a Card Tarot reading. So today we are going to be asking, what does my shadow self have to tell me? So this is a quick reading, so most of these readings are going to be relatively quick, but we'll try to get as many detailed answers as we can out of them. So your shadow self is simply the parts of yourself that are hidden within you, and generally there are parts of ourselves that when we're very young and very small, we learn through our environment and our life situation that maybe these are parts that we shouldn't be showing ourselves to others. And consequently, we end up blocking them from ourselves as well. And they're not necessarily bad things. We don't want to look at them from a dualistic standpoint of good and bad. Most of the time, they're hidden simply because we didn't, for whatever reason, when we were small, certain situations happened that we felt we had to repress these parts of ourselves, or we had to block them, or we have to hide them. And as a result, now they are part of your quote-unquote shadow, or in your subconscious. So they're not really necessarily something you need to be afraid of. And you don't need to necessarily be afraid of expressing them, but now, later in life, they may be harder to access because there are subconscious blocks that you have on these parts of yourself. But remember, as you're going through a journey of awakening and a journey of becoming more whole and healed as a person, it's important to face all aspects of yourself, even the parts you might find challenging, because locked within those challenges are actually deeply cathartic experiences and deeply freeing experiences. And showing all parts of yourself self-love is so deeply, deeply important and rewarding. And, really kind of coming back into a sense of uniting all parts of yourself, accepting all parts of yourself, even the parts you might find challenging. And then, oftentimes these shadow sides will end up being way less intense than we may have thought they would have been, simply because of, societal's expectations aren't necessarily what's best for us as individuals. So anyway, these are going to be asking what your shadow side has to tell you today. And we've got a couple of oracle decks and some tarot decks here. And I'm finishing off each reading today with a card from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, just so you can leave with some healing messages as well, in case these are particularly intense or anything like that. But like I said, they're going to be relatively quick messages, so just bear that in mind if you want to go more in deep and depth with your shadow self. There are many more YouTube readings out there, and I can also do a personal reading if you want to do that as well. So anyway, we've got a bunch of piles here. I have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, pile number 5. Once again, that's pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, pile number 5. If you go down to the description of this video right now, you'll be able to find a link to your reading. Once again, for the last time, we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So feel free to choose which one is just jumping out and calling at you the most, and that one is your pile. So without further ado, we're going to begin. Hi there, pile number 1. This is your reading for what does your shadow self have to tell you today. So we start out with this stone here. It's this beautiful stormy blue stone that I'm still not quite clear on what it is. Should probably look them up one of these days, right? I will get there. First up, we've got from the Fairytale Lenormand. I read these mostly as images and symbols from the card, and a little bit less as the symbol from the Lenormand itself. So remember, we're asking, what does your shadow self have to say? What is your shadow self saying to you right now in this moment? we've got the clover, which talks about luck, lucky situations. It also talks about rest on this particular instance, right? Because look at, she's kind of sleeping. That little leprechaun fairy is sleeping under there, under the leaf. We've got a 2 and a 6 on there. Clover. Yeah, so to me, I'm getting that dual meaning, right? Of luck, you know, of being lucky. And with it being from your shadow, what would your shadow be asking in this situation? I'm guessing sort of like maybe you don't feel like you're a lucky person, right? Maybe you feel blocked from your own luck and your own manifestation, and maybe you're trying to make something happen really hard, and you're not making it happen, right? Or like you're pushing too hard to try to manifest something right now. And what your shadow is telling you is that, you know, you also need rest, that there's a deep part of you that actually, you know, just wants to relax a little bit and lay back. And that's kind of the thing about manifestation as well, right? Is that manifestation, it can't happen if we're forcing things, right? It can't happen if we're really trying to push something into happening. It's like this opening into being open to receiving things. Excuse me. So I'm getting the sense that in your life right now, you're trying really, really hard to make something happen, and your shadow side is coming in to remind you that actually it's important to remember to let things come to you as well. That receptivity, right? That being open to receive from things. When we manifest and when we work on these acts of manifestation, it's a give and a take. It's a mix of those masculine energies, which are divine masculine energies, which are all about going out and doing, pushing, making things happen. But it's also knowing how to tap into the divine feminine as well, where it's this receptivity, allowing things to happen, being open to things coming in, stepping back after you've made your intentions clear, and then letting things come to you, or letting the steps come to you, right? Letting the decisions come to you. And then you go out and you tap in with that masculine energy and you make the things happen. So it's a give and a take. You have to go out and make things happen, and then you have to let things go, take steps back, allow things to happen, and then you'll get the next step to go out and do. So it's this kind of like give and a take situation. And I think with this rest card here too, I think that you're being asked to be a little bit more open to receiving, being a little bit more open to allowing things to come, instead of trying to force things so much. Let's keep asking the cards what's up here. We got the Death card. Yeah, so I think that there's some major change happening in your life as well, and that this kind of, you know, death and rest, you know, I think you can't get more rested than being dead, right? And I'm not saying that this is saying death. Obviously, death never means dying in the tarot and in other decks. It's generally just about taking on a major change within your life, that there's a major change and awakening happening. There's a movement into something new. And so I'm really getting that sense of this as well. We've got this bird imagery. You know, birds are connected to the spirit realm, to angels, to guides. So I think you're being asked to tune into your intuition a little bit as well. You know, taking a step back. Your shadow side is kind of showing that there are parts of you that are ready to be let go of, and there are parts of you that are being ready to embrace some more as well, and that transition period can only happen when you take that step back, when you take the step to process what's happened, to really rest, to heal yourself, to heal your body. And then you'll be able to tune into that manifestation power even more by giving yourself the space. I really do think that maybe you're the kind of person that is kind of go. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just that you can really tire yourself out sometimes when you're not giving yourself enough time to rest, right? To really take the time to step back, to recoup, to regain your personal power, so that you can then go back out and then continue to pursue. And yeah, so I really do think, I think that in the ebb and flows, I think that you may actually be in an ebb period, and that's okay, right? That it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to take some time for resting. It's okay to be in winter, right? That sometimes there are the winter seasons of our lives, as much as there are the summer seasons of our lives, and that that give and a take is a very natural rhythm of being alive. And so if you find yourself in a winter period right now, if things aren't happening the way you expect, you're being asked to accept that and accept the parts of yourself that can't continue to push right now, and that it's perfectly acceptable and it's perfectly okay to take some time to step back, to recoup, and to regain your strength. And that I think is what your shadow is kind of talking about in this situation. Next card we've got is the Hermit. Yeah, exactly, right? Maybe, maybe you feel a little bit uncomfortable taking a step back and not, being around certain people or being around people in general. Maybe you feel that it's necessary to be around people all the time or to have somebody around you all the time. And your shadow is really kind of talking about taking that step back now. That your shadow side wants some time alone and actually wants you to take some time alone and to really connect inward. The Hermit is all about connecting within. You see, he has this lantern here, which represents the inner fires of your own being, your spirit, your inner light, your inner guidance. And the Hermit generally talks about taking the time to step back from situations with other people and really tune into yourself and take that time to tune into yourself. So I'm really getting the sense right now that you're in a change period in your life. You are in this transformation, and transformations can seem really difficult and really challenging and scary sometimes. But your shadow self is coming in to let you know that actually it's here to work with you, that all parts of yourself are here to work with you. Your higher self and your shadow self, they're all connected, right? Because the shadow, like I was saying in the intro, it's just the parts of yourself that you're blocking from your consciousness because you are afraid of them for whatever reason. And they aren't necessarily scary. It's just that at a certain point in your life, you came to understand these things as bad, quote unquote, from a societal perspective, from a conditioning perspective, based on your family and your society and the conditions around you. And I think for you in particular, for whatever reason, taking a step back and being alone might be a part of your shadow, that maybe you're not somebody who naturally goes things alone, does things alone. And I think that you're being asked to just take a quick step and rest and recoup, be in a little bit of a winter period where you're taking a step back and you're really going within, and maybe take some time alone. And you don't have to self-isolate. You don't have to isolate at all. But just taking time for yourself is important, I think, with this, in that being in that more receptive mode. Final card from the Shamanic Healing Oracle is the Feminine Energy. Okay, and that is all about being in that receptive mode. Remember I was talking about that divine masculine versus divine feminine when we were talking about the clover? This is exactly what that is. So let me read it from the book. Darkness, it's perfect for shadow energy. Look at that. The moon, the tides, the quiet gestation before the chaos, the void. These are all aspects of feminine energy: passive, waiting, gestating, and nurturing. It is the opposite of the prior card, which was the masculine energy. So very different, yet the perfect combination. Perhaps you have yet to find your feminine side. The life you are leading right now has given you opportunities to embrace this part of you. But between the two opposing energies, feminine energy is the harder one to embrace. It requires trust and lack of fear. Trust that all is as it should be, and the absence of the fear of things not getting done. Perhaps in the past you had been hurt when you were embracing your feminine energy, physically or mentally. This is the free will of the person who hurt you. It was not caused by being who you were. Do not let the actions of another dictate who you need to be. Examine your feminine side. Become friends with her again. Alternatively, this card represents an important woman in the seeker's life. Yeah, no, I think that embracing your feminine side is a part of this, you know, embracing the receptivity mode, being open to receiving, and taking some time and stepping back, not being so active, not being so forced to try to make something happen, not being so, oh, I need to do this, to do that, to do this, to do that, to do this, to do that. Let me literally plan my entire existence right now. I really do think your shadow side is asking to take some time, to take some steps back, and to really take some time to process some things. And yeah, maybe tune into the divine feminine energy some more, you know? We all have the divine masculine and divine feminine energies present within us, regardless of your gender. Whether you're a woman, a man, or a non-binary person, however you identify, we all have the masculine and feminine archetypes present within us. And it's important to embrace that, to go within and to accept those parts of yourself, accept the parts that need to be accepted, right? That you accept your masculine and your feminine sides, that it's okay to have both, and that those can be expressed within you in ways that don't necessarily apply to cultural norms or societal expectations or family pressures or any of that. Your expression of you and your individuality and your balancing of the masculine and negative force, or masculine and feminine forces within yourself, are yours, you know, and that's up to you. So yeah, I think that's going to be my reading for you. Let me know in the comments either way what you thought. If you want to get more in detail, because that is kind of a very general reading, feel free to go to my website, www.junodrome.com, and check out my private readings that I have available. I would love to give you one, and we can work on anything that you'd like. I've got a slightly shorter half-an-hour pre-recorded video that I can record and send to you, and you can watch as many times as you want, or we can do a slightly more expensive one-on-one 1-hour video chat where you can ask as many questions as you want. I have a slight discount for YouTube subscribers, so please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'd like to deeply thank all of my new YouTube subscribers. I've been getting so many lately from doing my yes or no videos, and I am so deeply grateful. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so appreciative. I'm so excited to continue giving these videos to you. If there's ever any specific topics you'd like me to cover in these videos, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I would absolutely love to bring you more content that you'd like to see. So yeah, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day, pile number 1. Hi there, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading of what your shadow side needs to tell you. You chose this really great labradorite stone, which is pretty shiny and makes all these like crazy patterns and colors in it. It's pretty incredible. It's just like one of those stones that just like makes me so awe-inspired for the physical world, that could just be formed by magma, you know. It's pretty incredible. Okay, so I've got a bunch of different cards for you. First up, we've got a card from the Fairytale Lenormand, which I'm going to read mostly as symbolism. This is messages from your shadow self, and we have the snake. Okay, yeah, so like I said, the shadow self is parts of us that we find scary and difficult to process, when they don't necessarily have to be. And the snake is kind of the perfect example of that, right? The snake is representative of a couple of things in Western society. So this is the perfect representation of the shadow in general, because the shadow, like I was saying in the intro, are things that we repress because society has told us that these are things that we shouldn't have, quote unquote. But in reality, there are no supposed tos in life. There are no shoulds. And by repressing parts of ourselves, by repressing sides of ourselves, we actually start to create these conditions within ourselves where we do have these negatives and positives coming down, when in reality, it's a lot more complicated and a lot more non-dualistic, and that these sides of ourselves don't necessarily have to be bad, right? They're just parts of us. And that when we can learn to love and accept all parts of ourselves equally, we actually allow those parts of ourselves that maybe we would have been using against ourselves to actually be a part of us and work with us and to work with us on life, and the snake is a really good cultural representation of that concept, because at least in Western society with Christianity, what happened is the snake became representative of the devil in the Garden of Eden. But honestly, if you take a different look at that story, the snake helped Eve find knowledge. And, this knowledge doesn't have to be scary. Society and Christianity and dogma, and I don't want to knock. If you're a Christian, I'm not trying to knock Christianity, so don't get that wrong at all. But what I'm trying to say is that the idea that coming into knowledge is a deeply negative thing, right? Is a misdirection, and I believe that's a tool of control personally, from a societal perspective, of trying to get people not to think on their own. And honestly, what the snake represents in other cultures outside of Christianity, and what I take it to mean for spiritually, what I take this card to mean, is it represents the Kundalini force within us. And this is a kind of an older concept, which has now come back into fashion and continued through a lot of Eastern philosophies, including Hinduism and parts of Buddhism. It's this idea that there are energy centers in our body, and that at the very base of the spine, we have coiled up within us this energy force, this creative energy force that we can take and uncoil and have it go through our spine like a snake up to the top of our head and really unite us with the larger forces that exist above us. And it's kind of this idea of connecting yourself to your own greater sense of spirituality, to your own connection to the universe above. So what I'm getting from this is that your shadow side is telling you that it wants to start the process of an enlightenment, of a spiritual awakening, of a creative awakening, because the Kundalini energy is also representative of your own personal creativity. So it's sort of like you're being asked to open yourself up to spiritual knowledge, to your own spirituality, to a sense of your own united nature with the world around you and the universe and the stars and within you and all of that this sort of awakening is looking to happen within you. And it's not something that you need to be afraid of. It's something that you can embrace. Next up, we have from the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, we've got the Nine of Wands, which is... in this deck, I really do take it to mean these steps, right? That you have steps that you're taking and you're continuing to work on them step after step after step. And it's that rising too, that pyramid rising to the top. I was talking about that with the Kundalini energy. I'm getting that from this deck in particular because we have these steps going on here, right? And it takes time, it takes steps, it takes action. But you're working on that rising towards this moon, right? The crescent moon can help talk about that too, especially with the shadow, shadows at night with the moon energy. Maybe working with the energies of the moon could really help you and could work with you. Maybe you're being asked to look into working with some sort of systems of magic and moon magic. And magic doesn't have to be something scary, you know, it's not just black magic, quote unquote, right? It's like these kinds of magic practices can be deeply helpful in working towards manifestation, working towards self-empowerment, working towards self-awakening and spiritual awakenings. And it's all about how you approach it, right? If you don't want to do profoundly difficult or profoundly harmful things to people, you don't have to do those. If you don't want to do profoundly harmful things to yourself, you don't have to do that. Working with the moon and working with magic doesn't have to be a profoundly negative and harmful thing. It doesn't. None of that has to be the case. In fact, it can be a deeply helpful and enriching and fulfilling thing. So I do think that this greater sense of manifestation, greater sense of spirituality is being asked to work itself into your life. And that you have the power to do that, that you have power. You have a deep sense of inner power and inner creativity and inner being that is present within you, that is being asked to be expressed a little bit more by your shadow side. I feel that. Next up, we have from the IJJ Swiss deck, we've got the Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, okay. So I was talking about working towards abundance. The Nine of Pentacles is all about abundance and basking in the finer things. The thing about it is that it's this, in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's depicted as a woman who is alone in her own garden and experiencing ultimate fulfillment with being happy with she's got some animals around her, she's got her garden, she's happy and fulfilled on her own. And that's the thing about it, is that she's on her own in that picture. And so it's sort of like she's kind of gone off on her own path and followed her own self and her own drive. And by doing that, she's actually opened herself up to this abundance. She had to go in her own way. She had to not listen to the other people around her as much who were telling her she couldn't do it or putting her down or any of that, giving her their own doubts, and she was taking on other people's doubts as her own at first. So she's let go of all of those things. She's let go of any fears from societal's expectations, and she's deeply tapped into her own sense of abundance. So you have that power within you. It's just shifting your perspective on certain situations. Finally, from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, we have anger. Okay, and letting go of any anger and resentment. So let me read that from the book, and then I can kind of get it more in tune with all of this as well. A very strong and primal emotion, anger sometimes catches us by surprise. At other times, it seethes just under the surface, simmering a long while until it boils over, scalding anyone who is close. Anger is based in fear. Fear of loss of control, fear of not being loved, fear of being judged, fear of not being enough. When anger enters your life, be it yours or someone else's, go beneath the surface and try to address the real fear that has triggered it. Anger doesn't go away without addressing the underlying fear. Alternatively, beware of someone's anger directed towards you. No, I think this is about you, and potentially, you know, maybe, you know, you've been blocked by anger before. Like it was saying there, anger comes from fear. So there's certain underlying situations within you that maybe you're afraid of, that, you know, and it could be you're afraid of parts of yourself because of the shadow energy that we were talking about. And when I was talking about connecting to magic, right, remember not to excuse me, not to come from it from a place of anger, but to come from it from a place of love, right? Always ask yourself, is this coming from a place of fear, or is this coming from a place of love? And when you experience fear, when you are afraid, and then when you are angry by extension, if you are angry, showing yourself compassion and self-love can be deeply, deeply helpful in transforming that. And things take time. It takes steps. step after step after step. So if you are trying to improve yourself, if you're trying to not be angry all the time, if you're trying to let go of any kind of fears you might have within, any kind of feeling of, you know, anger can come from not feeling in control sometimes as well, from feeling like you don't have your own autonomy or you don't have power over your life. But in reality, you have your own power in your own life. Like the Nine of Pentacles here, right? She had to leave some people behind, or she had to leave some ideas behind. She had to leave other people's opinions behind in order to tap into her own abundance. So this anger can be caught by, we can get caught in anger by feeling as if we have to conform to the opinions of others and then being mad at those people for us conforming to it, or mad at ourselves for feeling that we have to conform. But in reality, you don't. You don't have to conform to other people's ideals or opinions or situations or any of that. You can be your own being. You can be your own self and you know, be your own self. With the, I know it's a wasp, but it looks like a bee, right? And yeah, be like a worker bee. Turn this wasp of anger into your own worker bee, working towards your own self-empowerment. And magic can help with that, but come from it from a place of love. Don't come from a place of fear or manipulation. You know, trying to use magic to manipulate others is only ever going to hurt you and yourself. So be careful with that, you know. Always come from a place of love. Come from a foundation of love of self, love of the world around you, love of humanity, love of others. And, you know, the world's a difficult place, right? There are some challenging people and challenging situations and challenging choices out there. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to connect into your own personal growth and your own personal sense of spirituality. And spirituality, you know, spiritual awakenings, they're never easy. And if you're actually going through a spiritual awakening right now, that might indicate that you're actually going through some really challenging times in your life. Because spiritual awakenings tend to come in really difficult and hard ways. As somebody who's been through that, and is still kind of residual, I mean, you always kind of hold on to some of that pain, you know, as you go through things. But it's all about transforming the pain, transforming the fear, transforming, you know, in this very transmutational alchemist way, this alchemy within, of changing these difficult, hard situations that have occurred to us and changing our perspective to see the lessons from them, to look at a terrible situation that has happened in our life and ask ourselves, what has this led me to seeing now? How can I see now? And I have a little bit of a hoarse in my throat, so maybe you feel blocked from speaking your own truth. So maybe this is how you learn how to unlock that. You know, you learn how to unlock any throat chakra blockages that you might have and connect yourself into this abundance, which may mean going it alone for a minute. It may mean breaking off by yourself for a minute, and that might be something scary for you. If being alone is something that's scary to you, you might want to check out pile number 1, because that's what that kind of was all about. And yeah, that was your reading for you. Let me know in the comments either way what you thought of it. I would love to hear from you. If you want a more detailed reading, because these were really general, feel free to check out my website, www.junodrome.com. I have 2 different private readings available. I've got a slightly cheaper 30-minute video that's pre-recorded that I can send to you. So I will record the video and say everything that comes out from the cards for you personally, or we can do a 60-minute one-on-one where we can hash things out, we can talk about things, we can get super in detail, and I can give you a reading that way. So that was my reading for you. Please let me know in the comments either way what you think, and yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'd like to just quickly as well thank all of my new subscribers. I'm so deeply thankful to have you joining me, and I'm very excited to continue to bring you more content. If there's ever any kind of topics that you'd like to see me cover, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I would love to know. So yeah, have a great day, pile number 2. Thank you. Hi, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. You had this red jasper stone, which I tend to find it to be a very calming stone. Kind of reminds me of the desert or something like that. First up, like I said, we are doing what does your shadow side have to tell you? So your shadow is just, like I was saying in the description, just the parts of yourself that might be difficult to look at based on societal conditioning, pressures, family pressures, all of that. But in reality, they're not necessarily parts of yourself that you have to be afraid of. They're just parts of yourself that are not as easily accessed because of life situations. You got the most cards out of anybody. So yeah, I feel like you have a lot to hear. So we'll jump right in and see. First up, we've got one card from the Fairytale Lenormand, which I read mostly for symbolism. We've got the Lady. I'm getting serious Cinderella vibes right off the bat. So maybe, maybe you feel like the black sheep in your family, and in your life situation. Maybe you feel like you've been overworked. Maybe you feel like you have to take on more than others around you, and maybe that's left you feeling very alone and very isolated. I'm getting that sense right off the bat from this card. So I think that maybe your shadow side is trying to tell you that it's okay, right? That you don't have to be alone, that you don't have to take on all this stuff alone. And then we also have so many birds here and mice as well. But all of these birds are really connecting me into angel symbolism, as well as spirits, spirit guides, guidance from the other realms. So I'm thinking from this card in particular that actually you may not be as alone as you think you are, that you have guides and spirits and connections to the other realms that are here for you, that are ready and willing and waiting to come in and help you and guide you through any situation that you might be going through. That even if you feel like you're in a difficult situation right now, that you don't have to go it alone, that you have help. Even if you don't have help in the physical world, you do have help in the other realms. And that maybe part of your shadow is a repression of your own spirituality, and that you're being asked to awaken a little bit more from a spiritual sense. Let's keep going with these cards here. We've got the Six of Cups, which normally talks about happy memories, but for this in particular, it's talking about putting down deep, deep roots, right? And it's this like interconnection where you have to go down and deep in order to go up as well. So yeah, I think if you are trying to connect in with spirits and stuff, it's also saying that you need to connect within and to see your own, go into your own depths and connect. But then this is also talking about grounding, and the importance of grounding, because what grounding is it kind of connects you back into your own body, connects you into the earth itself, connects you back into the physical, and it keeps you from getting lost in the mind and the mental space. I actually have a grounding meditation I just put onto my channel, so feel free to check that out. It's a half an hour long, and it's kind of like if you're feeling like you're in a rough place right now, if you're feeling kind of depressed, or you're feeling like you're getting lost in your own mind and your own mental space or anything like that, tune right into that grounding meditation, because that can really help you out. So let's keep going with these cards here. You've got two from the IJJ Swiss deck. First up we've got is the Four of Cups. Okay. The Four of Cups comes in when there's a situation that we don't necessarily see. It's all about this idea that the universe is trying to give you one of these cups here, and you're just focused on these three that aren't necessarily working out, but there is an option that you're not seeing that's being presented to you. So I get from this particular reading, right, your shadow side is talking about this idea that you are in a position right now where you might feel alone, you might feel lost, but that's kind of a matter of perspective, right? That in reality, there are things present for you, there are gifts present for you, there's guidance around you, there are signs around you to let you know that the universe is here with you, that things are here with you, that things can work out for you. And it might take coming back into a sense of balance by grounding into the earth, taking deep breaths, coming back into your own sense, your own body, your own sense of being, coming back into the present moment. And then you'll be a little bit clearer on being able to see what is trying to come into your life. You'll be able to see how you can move forward, that there are actually things present around you that are waiting to come into your life that are going to really be beneficial for you. But you're just not necessarily seeing those things based on past things that have happened to you, based on where you are in life, based on your position, based on certain situations in your mindset is making it so that it's hard to see what that is. Let's see what the next card says. Okay, we've got the Knight of Wands. Yeah, which is following your own inner passions and inner drives. So I think that, you know, you might feel like you're stuck in a situation. And I think maybe with your shadow side, you might feel like your shadow might be trying to tell you that there's a lust for adventure, right? That you have this lust for adventure that's present for you. And that there is a situation that's ready to come into your life that's going to give you and satisfy that adventure. But you might be afraid to jump at that you might be repressing this need for adventure. You might be saying, no, everything is ordinary, everything is fine, I'm just going to go around with my life the way that I think I have to, the way that I'm supposed to, when in reality, you want to go off and adventure in some way. You know, you want more adventure in your life in some aspect. You want to follow your passions. You want to follow your dreams and your desires and your drive. And your shadow self is really telling you to go for it, right? It's offering you this cup. And, you know, it might, the other meaning for the Six of Cups is about happy memories from the past. And sometimes it's nostalgia, but maybe there was something you did as a child or you loved as a child or as a kid that really got you going, that you really loved, that you were really in tune with, and that's actually what you're meant to do, right? That's actually something you're meant to pursue in life, and that you were really into that, and that was a big interest for you when you were a child because that was a part of your personality, a part of who you are. And that now that maybe you're older and you feel like you're forced into this way of life that's really kind of boring to you at the end of the day, but you feel it's what you're supposed to be doing, what you need to be doing. Your shadow's coming in to tell you that no, stop focusing on those things. Start taking up this last cup and follow your passions, follow your dreams and your desires. You've turned your passions and your dreams into your shadow. You've repressed your dreams. And now your dreams are trying to come back and tell you, no, you have to follow those things. That you have to follow your passions and your dreams and your desires if you want to be happy in life. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. So you've got two of the Shamanic Healing Oracle cards. So let's see what they are, and I'm going to read from the book for both of them as well. First up is Integration. We are a sum of all our experiences in this and other lives. We all bring forward a wealth of knowledge, talents, and wisdom. One of the challenges is remembering who we are. We are bombarded every day in every way with messages on who we should be, on what we should do, what we should wear, how we should live. These messages coming from the media, society, our family and friends, and even strangers can drown out who we are really meant to be, who we have grown into lifetime after lifetime. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's amazing. Find some quiet moments in your day to identify and start a relationship with that strong, small voice inside you. Pretty soon, you won't hear the other messages. Many times in your interactions with others, you hear that small voice that tells you something is not right. Your logical mind tells you to stop it. Nothing is wrong. Stop being silly, dramatic, or overreacting. You may ignore your inner voice. Excuse me. In a quest to fit in, to be loved or admired. You do not realize that your inner voice is warning you that the other person's energy is not matching their words or actions. Listen to your instincts about this situation or person. Yeah, you know, all about those shoulds, right? That's exactly what I was talking about. That I think that you have found yourself in a position in life where you are following along with the bounds of what you think you should be doing, what you think a person like you should be doing based on so many conditions. But in reality, there are no supposed to's in life. There are no shoulds. There's just life. And it's up to you to take the reins of life and to choose what you want for yourself. And you can do that. You can follow your dreams and your passions and your desires, and you're being encouraged to do so in this spread. Finally, we've got joy. Yeah, follow your joy. Find it. It's there for you. Let's read that. We are created in joy. The balance of energy and higher vibrations brings us closer to divine love, pure joy. Joy can be a destination, but it can also be the vehicle that you use to get to that destination. Faith, grace, gratitude, and love all merge together at different times and in different amounts to create joy. There is love, growth, tears, change, and self-realization in this card. This card pretends a happy and joyous time. So there you go. Follow joy. At the end of the day, what's going to make you happy? It doesn't matter what's going to make everybody else happy, because the people who are meant for you in this life, the people who love you, they're going to be happy. They're going to be happy when you're happy. And that it's okay to follow your happiness. It's okay to follow your passions. It's okay to follow your drive. That, you know, you don't have to be just responsible all the time. That the universe will work with you to give you your dreams. If they are your dreams, then they are meant for you. And the universe will work with you to make those things happen. If you put in the work, if you put in the time and the work to pursue them, to make them happen, to take the steps necessary. And, you know, following your dreams isn't always easy, but if it's your dream, it'll be worth it, and it'll feel worth it. And then you'll be happier with yourself the more and the more that you go for it. So that was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments either way. If you want a more detailed reading, because this one gets pretty general, I can get a private reading for you. If you go to my website, www.junodrome.com, I have two different options from my website. A slightly cheaper reading where it's pre-recorded. I will send it to you. It's a half an hour long. And it will get as in-depth as I can get for you in that situation. Or we can do a private one-on-one where we speak face-to-face through video chat. And I will pull as many cards as possible for you. You can ask as many questions as you want. We can get super into detail about your life and your situation and how to move forward. So anyway, thank you so much, pile number 3. I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi there, pile number 4. You chose this pretty amethyst crystal. I think it's really nice. Pretty rough. I have a smooth one and a rough one. I like them both. So this is your reading for what does your shadow side have to tell you. And like I was saying in the description, your shadow isn't necessarily something that's scary, although it could be scary to you just because it's unexpressed. It's parts of yourself that you're not seeing. And it's parts of yourself that you should accept and love, you know, that want self-love from you, that want compassion from you. And so let's find out what it is. We've got, first up from the Fairytale Lenormand. I read this mostly from the symbols on the card and a little bit less from the actual card itself. We've got birds. Okay, birds to me are always about spirits or angels or other realms, connecting to the other realms. And there's very nature vibes on this as well. You know, you've got this tree here, outdoor setting, all of these different types of birds on this card. And then we've got the wind. So I'm guessing this might have a spiritual connotation. I've got to see some more cards just to be sure what we're talking about here. You got 2 from the Wild Unknown Tarot. Normally I just pull 1, but 2 came out for you. First up we've got is the Magician. Ooh, okay. This sort of alchemist. Creating your own world and your own life from the forces around you. We've got this like jaguar too on here. So with the Magician here and these birds, I really am getting the sense that you are kind of a really powerful kind of a person. You know, I am getting this, like, you're the magician, you're this alchemist, you're able to make anything happen. You're probably a really powerful manifester. And you're actually deeply connected to the spiritual realms as well. You might actually be some kind of channel or, you know, connected in. You know, you're just deeply connected. And I think that maybe if this is in your shadow self, maybe this is something that you haven't noticed, or maybe you told yourself that you don't have this. But you actually are a deeply, deeply powerful manifester, which means that it's really important to make sure that you are practicing mindfulness, which just means being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your thoughts as they come in, and using your thoughts, like directing your thoughts, sailing through your thoughts, right? You don't have to manipulate your thoughts. You don't have to keep like a deep, deep, deep control over your thoughts. But it's kind of like keeping notice when things are going on, you know, like keeping notice of what you're telling yourself, because the words that you tell yourself have extra power for you. I feel that from this spread, that the words that you tell yourself happen. You make things happen, and probably pretty quickly and pretty dramatically in your life. So if you tell yourself you can't do something, then you are going to be blocking yourself from that thing. When in reality, if you were to tell yourself that you can do that, and to tell yourself in the mirror that you can do that thing, then you are capable of like extra making that thing happen than necessarily your average person, because I think you've got this like powerful tool of manifestation at your disposal. So next up we have, also from the Wild Unknown card, we've got the 4 of Cups. Okay. Which came into the last pile, so potentially pile number 3 might resonate with you as well. The 4 of Cups is all about not seeing something. So it's like the universe is trying to give this person this 4th cup, in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck anyway. And then they are only paying attention to those 3 cups that are left over. You know, you've also got kind of this rat symbolism here in the moon. So you might want to look up rats from a symbolic point of view. I'm not entirely sure what they represent. But, you know, so it's this idea, at least from the traditional meaning of this card, is that the universe is trying to give you something, right? So like I was saying before, with this power of manifestation that you have and this connection into your own intuition, into the spirit realms, that you have the ability to make your life into whatever you want, that you can make anything happen, that you can actually gain these gifts from the universe, and that it looks like they want that for you. They want you to have that gift. They're trying to make that come into you, and they're, you know, I'm getting this sense from your shadow self that maybe that's not something that you see, and that maybe it's something that you're actually blocking by not seeing that. And so this reading in general, I think, maybe is here to help trigger that in you, to really continue to dive into your own magic, to your own inner magician. The Magician is an alchemist, and it's the only card in the tarot that has all 4 of the elements created with it. And it's able to map the forces of the universe into whatever it sees, right? It has this powerful vision, right? With this this connection to the spirit realms, it has this powerful vision. It's a visionary person. It's able to see these visions from the other side in their mind's eye, in their imagination, and then they're able to pull that through into the real world and make that imagination possible and make that imagination real. So you have that gift and that ability to create the conditions within yourself, to create your own life, to manifest your own dreams. Final card from the IJJ Swiss deck before we get into the Shamanic Healing Oracle. Yeah, okay, 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, ultimate abundance, right? You are meant for ultimate abundance. You are meant to be a deeply abundant being. And that's something that's not only possible for you, but wants to come in for you, right? With this final cup, the universe wants to help you become abundant, and you have the ability to manifest that abundance for yourself. It's just a matter of keeping track of what your perspective is, keeping track of your thoughts and your situation and your whatever's happening in your life, and connecting into the spirit realms and getting these messages and these manifestations and bringing them forward into existence. Final card that we have from the Shamanic Healing Oracle is past, present, and future. So let me read that from the book. Integrating past, present, and future. We all arrive on this earth with a plan. We all have lessons to learn. In the process of learning these lessons, most of us will encounter experiences we will label as bad. This labeling and duality we carry with us wherever we go is what we call our so-called baggage. When we let these labels direct our reactions to life and experiences in the present, or even project them into the future, we are working with a lower vibrational energy. When you are able to integrate your lessons without labels, then you are free to remain in the present experience and enjoy it for what it truly is. You can then move forward into the future without expectations or agendas, and be much more open to what will be for our highest and best. Let go of labels and judgments surrounding the situation. Okay, so there we go. I think that's a part of that perspective shift that needs to come in for you, is starting to see things not necessarily as all bad or all good, but just starting to see things for as they are, and understanding the lessons, right? You'll be able to free, with this manifestation power that you have, you'll be able to free yourself from some of the things within you when you start to look at them from a different perspective, and you open yourself up to that other perspective. That's this alchemy that's looking to come in. This alchemy, inner alchemy of transforming any kind of past experiences that may have been painful, and transforming them from this thing that's keeping you back, that's holding you back, to this thing that's gained you wisdom, given you answers, and lessons for how to move forward in life, so you can find this abundance that's trying to come into your life. So that was my reading for you. Like I said, these are kind of quick readings, so let me know in the comments either way what you think. I would love to hear from you. I want to deeply thank all of my new subscribers. I'm so appreciative for all of you here. I'm really excited to give you more content. So if there's ever anything in particular you'd like to see from me, any kind of topics you want to see, please feel free to let me know in the comments, and maybe you'll see them in a future video. And if you want to get more personal instead of just one of these general readings, please feel free to find my website, www.junodrome.com, and check out one of my personal readings. I've got 2 different options. So I would love to help you out. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, pile number 4. Catch you later. All right, let me just make sure that this is still going. It is. Perfect. Hi there, pile number 5. Welcome to your reading. You chose this fun little disc stone with, I'm not entirely sure what this is, but it's got all these fun little copper colored pieces in it. It's really quite lovely. Let's check in. This is your reading for what does your shadow self need to tell you? Like I've been saying to the other piles, and I said in the intro, your shadow self isn't necessarily something that you need to be afraid of. It's just parts of yourself that you're not quite seeing based on whatever life circumstances you've been in. And then this is just trying to help trigger you and open you up to your larger self as a whole, to loving all parts of yourself no matter what, and to really, really, really connecting into that self-love. So first up, from the Fairytale Lenormand, you got 2 of these. Most cards just got 1, but 2 came out for you. I read these mostly as symbolism, so we'll see what the symbols have to say. Ooh, bouquet. Ooh, somebody's giving you some flowers. Oh, and look, they got little faces in it. Can you see that? Is that possible for you to see? They're so pretty. Yeah, happy, smiling flowers want to come into your life. Flowers are all about, you know, they've got beautiful scents. They're kind, they're loving nature. We've got this shining all around you. So that's pretty happy imagery first up. Let's see what the next card says. And we got the fish. Oh, cool. Which is kind of like riding these fish through the ocean. And the ocean talks about deep, deep, deep emotions. So maybe, you know, flowers can be given with mourning as well. You know, a bouquet can be given when something sad has happened. And maybe, you know, with this deep ocean as well, maybe you've got some feelings that need to come out, some deeper emotions, so that you can connect back into these happiness. That's kind of what I'm getting with these two cards here. And, you know, the ocean depths talk about deep, deep, deep feelings. So feelings deep within. It's that Scorpio energy. You don't necessarily have to be a Scorpio, but Scorpios really embody this like ever deepening ocean of emotion. And so sometimes we can really repress emotions if they're really intense or they're hard to feel. And this really talks about that idea of unlocking any repressed emotions and feeling your feelings, letting your feelings come out, not letting them be repressed, but really letting yourself feel your feelings, feel what needs to be felt, let them go, and then you'll be able to let them go, because by pushing it down, pushing it away, you're actually blocking yourself from being able to feel. So we've got that. Let's see, from the Wild Unknown Tarot, we have the Father of Wands, which has this snake energy. It's also the King of Wands, so it's about manifestation, but the snakes talk about this Kundalini energy as well. And yeah, especially with the lightning, it's really like uniting yourself up to your higher self, connecting yourself into your higher self through moving your creative force and creative energies up through the base of your spine, up through your body, up into your higher self and your higher chakras. So I'm really kind of getting that sense with this, is that you are looking to connect in with these higher realms a little bit more, and that by connecting to your higher self, you might be able to connect to whatever these emotions might be. We've got the Knight of Pentacles here, which talks about movement. The Knights are all about movement, and Pentacles are all about the material world. So changes in your environment, moving towards abundance, moving towards that kind of thing. So I really do think, because this is a shadow side, what is it that you're not seeing within yourself? I think that you have some emotions that might be blocking you, that might be blocking you from gaining this abundance, that you might be trying to manifest abundance into your life, and you might be at a crossroads or some kind of standstill at the current moment, and you might not know what that's from, and your shadow is coming in to let you know that it's actually from some repressed emotions that you have. That you have some deep, deep, deep felt emotions that just need to come to the surface. They're looking to bubble up from the depths of that ocean up to the surface, so that you can release yourself from them and you can be back into this happy, receptive energy. That I think the one thing that's blocking you from being able to do that is, you know, connecting back into your higher self and really pushing that connection back into your life. And what's happening is that you've got a little bit of repressed emotions going on, and it's not necessarily anything to be afraid of. It's just that you need to set some time aside to let yourself feel any emotions that need to be felt. Your final card is teaching. So allowing yourself to learn from each moment, and maybe being called to teach as well. Let me read from the book what that says. The situation you are inquiring about encourages teaching, whether it be student-teacher, parent-child, or just friend-friend. We are, all of us, learning and teaching constantly when we are maintaining a high vibration energetically. Never despair that the seeds you have planted have failed to take root. They may be taking time to germinate, or they may have migrated to another field. Do not plant seeds with the expectation of an outcome. Disengage from the attachment to the outcome of the situation and move on. A farmer doesn't sit down next to the seeds. He plants, waiting for them to sprout. What a recipe for disappointment. He plants them and moves on. Never once does he second guess if he was doing the right thing in the right way. He simply does what he is called to do and trusts the fruits of his labor will be what they were supposed to be. Yeah, okay. So that's exactly what's going on, I think, in this situation. Like I was saying, I think you're trying to manifest something, and I think you're trying to make something happen. And I think that maybe, you're a little bit worried about not seeing any results. And, this is showing you that it's a learning lesson, right? And to have patience and to have faith. And yeah, I do think that there's some emotions as well that need to come to the surface. So maybe this is teaching you how to move through these emotions. Maybe this is the learning moment you need in order to move through some of this energy that might be stuck within you and really open yourself back up to this channel and move into this abundance and to have patience. You're being asked to slow down, to have patience, because the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving of all of the knights. It's asking you to take your time, slow down, allow things to unfold as they are unfolding, to have faith in yourself, to have faith in the universe, to know that you're not alone, right? You've got these little flowers here with you, which is great, and that this is a teaching moment for you. So learn as much as you can from this moment. Embrace this moment. Be happy to be here right now, regardless of what's happening in your life and in your situation. So anyway, that's my reading for you. Let me know in the comments either way what you think. I'd love to hear from you. I love getting all the comments from everyone. It's been really wonderful. I want to deeply, deeply thank all of my new viewers and subscribers in particular. I'm so excited to be giving content for all of you. So let me know in the comments if you ever have any ideas for specific readings you'd like to hear from me. If you want to get more detailed about anything, feel free to check out my website, www.junodrome.com. I've got a bunch of different readings available on that website. So, yeah, feel free to book one with me. I would love to work with you. Yeah, that was my reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day, pile number 5. Thank you so much for tuning in.